and sharing space with me and everyone else. I thought we would begin with a little brief meditation, if that would be okay with you guys. So feel free to make yourselves a little bit more comfortable. If you are, like maybe at the back of your chair, maybe scooch up a little bit so that you can feel the left and right side of your body semi-evenly. If you feel like closing your eyes, that's great. If you don't feel like closing your eyes, that's cool too. But this is a little bit more for me than you. And just begin to feel your breath draw in and out through your body. And then notice the left side of your body. And shift your awareness over to the right side of your body. And then think about just the lower half of your body. And then think about only the upper half of your body. And with the least amount of effort as possible, breathe naturally. Just as it. And then taking a nice deep inhale in through your nose. Exhale any which way you would like and open your eyes. Okay, so I have been a yoga teacher for 7 years. I took over the studio in April of 2018. I really wanted a wellness center, but I was very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Advised not to change it from a yoga studio into a wellness center because it would be confusing for people. I did have like the easiest job ever, it's the less stressful job as being a professional yoga teacher. And then I decided to become a business owner, which is very incredibly stressful. So I didn't really know what I was doing. I had an art degree and a yoga certification. I knew nothing about business. So I have learned a lot about running a business. I do not have a partner. I do not have anybody managing. I do pretty much all of the things. When I decided to have the space, I knew that you can do yoga anywhere. You can do yoga at the park. There's numerous different yoga studios around town that are amazing. What I was selling was the space itself. So I tried to create a place where people feel very comfortable, very safe, that they can practice yoga. We offer 26 classes, and we have about 13 instructors, give or take, that teach. We are primarily a hot vinyasa flow studio. We have a special heating system that pulls the outside air in, and we are able to control the humidity and the heat. It's pretty swampy in there sometimes, but that's, it feels really kind of great. Our floor is not a traditional wood, bamboo, or cork floor. We do have more of a gymnastics floor. It's not quite as bouncy, but it's soft and padded. When I started teaching there, I was like, I'm not gonna like this. It's not very traditional, but for the knees and the feet and all the joints, it's been incredible. I really, really do like it. Like I said, we are primarily have hot vinyasa flow, but we do have some non-heated classes. Like mentioned before, I wanted a space where we had a little bit more things besides a physical yoga practice, and that we could offer more alternative healings like guided meditations. We do a journaling workshops every once in a while. We recently had a female hormone workshop. Just a little bit different things besides a physical practice. I recently added, a few months ago, a chair yoga class that has been very fulfilling for me personally. I've seen the biggest amount of growth of people who have never really maybe been physical at all ever in their lives, and here they are in 65, 75 and having an issue putting on their own shoes and things like that. Just very basic things, turning your head to get out, to pull out from your car, and they are it's amazing. So we have that now, so it's really great. We have the larger studio, which has almost all of our group classes, and then I also have a small, more traditional studio in the front that has a bamboo floor. Both of our studios have large mirrors. That small studio is available for rent. If you had an alternative workshop that you wanted to do, you could possibly rent it out. If you wanted a private lesson, you could have it there. If you wanted to just practice by yourself, you can rent that as well. I have 3 showers, 2 massage therapists, we have yoga props, we have a few retail items, and a lending library as well. Oopsie daisy. So, I worked really hard last year, real hard. And now I'm kind of like coasting just a little bit. But I really am trying to discover what our community wants and needs in this sort of business model. I might want to let go of a little bit of control, possibly later, and hire a manager, maybe part-time. I'm trying. And we will also be offering a yoga teacher training starting in January 2020. Another thing we will be also adding is a couple of retreats. I would like to do at least a local one and an international one, but I'm probably going to wait until 2020. How can you help us? Well, I wanted to, kind of disprove the myth that yoga is a certain body type, or I'm too tight to stretch, or that kind of thing. And I get that, I totally do. And I'm not saying yoga is for everybody. I mean, I think it is, but I'm not going to try to push that. But we do have all the other offerings as well that I need people, that I would like for people to kind of know, especially the chair class. You can follow us on social media. I am seeking I have another space to rent. I have 3 spaces to rent. I have 2 of them full. I have a space for an esthetician. So if anyone knows of an esthetician that is needing a space, I do have one for rent. And then maybe again, that part-time business support, but I'm still kind of like, I don't know. And I guess that's all I have. I guess I went really fast.
Oh no, you're
perfect. Perfect. All right, we'll open up for a few questions and comments, if that's okay. And maybe have one to start. I can ask if you want to. Right here, go ahead.
Okay. As somebody who went from being an instructor to now a business owner, what do you feel were your biggest lessons learned to somebody else who might want to do the same thing?
Humans are the biggest variable. I'm sure, like anybody that has their own business, like that's the part that surprised me the most. That was the thing I thought. I was so freaked out about the paperwork stuff, the tax stuff, the accounting stuff, because that's not my brain at all, that I didn't think about the managing of the staff and how difficult that part is, and how you have to be mean a little bit, or like have a very strong boundary. And that's kind of hard for me to be like, oh, it's okay, and then after it's okay like 20 times, you're like, dang it, I have to fire you. I feel like I think that was the hardest part. That's the hardest part. Yes, Sarah?
Are your instructors, are they employees or are they
Contractors.
So where do you, just since we're talking about people, where do you find people? I mean, obviously I know you mentioned you're seeking a few positions here today, so you can help, but where have you routinely found people to serve as contractors or as instructors?
Well, being I've been doing it for 7 years, so the community, you just kind of I just asked a lot of people of different, there's several different yoga teacher trainings around town, so I kind of hit up those business owners and their staff that support that, and then you just kind of word of mouth from people. And I also forgot, we're in Brookhaven Village. I kind of totally forgot to say where I was located. So we're in Brookhaven Village.
Got a question back here, looks like.
do you offer any classes for children or one grade?
We do not currently have any classes for children. I thought about doing it for the summer, and we've done it before I owned it. But I just lost. I didn't do it yet. But I feel like we will eventually have that. Our non-heated classes, I don't mind if a child comes if they're a well-behaved child. It's a discretion of the parent and myself. And and I think the youngest child I've had come to a group class was maybe 9. And just kind of see if it works out for them and if it's a fit. You can always leave the class, and of course I would give you your money back, just to kind of see. The hot classes, I would like them to be maybe 16, 17 years old, and we do have a lot of high school kids.
Sorry.
Sarita?
Do you have any
plans, or do you feel like this is a scalable business, or like are you going to take over the world with yoga studios, or are you
Do I want a franchise? No.
more globally?
No. Well, I'm actually going to Panama in the fall to look. I would like to open an international studio. I don't really think I want to open up one here. It's just there's so many, and I think they're all great. I just don't think it would be a fit. But like just for my own personal self to have a second home somewhere. That's what I would like.
You mentioned in your comments a little bit about some of the specialties, but what makes you said there's a whole lot here, which is good. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
What makes you unique and special compared to your competition?
I think it is the space. I feel like we have collectively, with the staff that I have and the students that we have collectively made a really amazing space. It's energetics. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. No, there isn't anything anybody else can put up a bunch of plants. I have a ton of plants in my studio and, make it that. I think it's the people and how it all kind of co-created together. That's what I think. I do have a summer special right now going on. It's a 10-class pack for $100. Those classes do have to be used throughout the summer. And then I always have a 2 weeks for new members for $30, unlimited yoga. So I forgot to throw that part in as well.
That's great.
Sarita?
Go.
Is there anything, I'm putting my city council hat on now, so is there anything that our city can do to support your business? Or are there any obstacles you've experienced that you feel like are unnecessary or that could be solved?
I have an amazing landlord that has really helped, I haven't had to worry. I mean, the business was already built out, so I didn't have to worry about any of that stuff at all. Honestly, just spreading the word is really all I would like, that it's not just like really intense, I would say, yoga practice. There are all different levels of things. That would be the biggest thing.
We had a question in the back, I think.
Sarah?
Yes. So now that you are the studio owner, how much time do you get to spend doing the yoga part versus actually running the business side?
That's why I'm scaling back. That's why we're probably not having the kids yoga right now, because it was like 14 months of no sleep, of trying to, I teach 17 classes a week. On top of everything else, I'm a single mom and I have 2 teenage children. So I'm very, very, very busy, but so I see it. It's coming. I can tell it's coming. Maybe like in July or August, I can start doing a little, because I have a lot of other interests too, in the same genre of the business and yoga that I want to explore, but I haven't had the time, but I feel it, I see it. Things are settling. And I think it is a lot the staff. Having the staff being stable and grounded has been huge. Yoga teachers are a different breed. We're different, and it's hard to be the person of you always want people to do what they want to do and feel good, but sometimes that doesn't work when you're trying to run a business, because you're like, oh, well, I'm going to be gone for 3 months because I'm going to be in Panama, and you're like, awesome, that's great. You're like, shh, I gotta find somebody to teach for 3 months. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. There are livers of life, for sure. Does anyone else have any questions?
Question right here.
So you said that you decided to focus on the youth yoga studio rather than a wellness center. How would you define a wellness center? Do you see a path to where you would like to be in a few years?
Right. Well, I'm tricking everybody. It's a yoga studio, but it really is a wellness center. I just been calling it a yoga studio, but if I would have called it a wellness center, it would have been confused. And they were like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. You shouldn't do that. And so I don't think I will ever change it to a wellness center, but just continuing to add on any sort of alternative methods of healings and processings that people would like. And that is another thing. I'm super up for any kind of conversations. I love co-creating with people. We'll always try. We can try it once, and if it doesn't work out, then we don't do it. We'll just try something else again. But does that answer your question? Did I just ramble? Okay.
I'm just kind of curious, as an entrepreneur, I always think it's interesting. I know you were successful, yoga instructor, you know, all this. What made you say, you know what, I want to own the studio. I want to take on that next level of management.
Hey, that's a
and-
long story.
Oh.
So the business was sold, and then it moved to a different location, and then the location that I have always taught in, and I started, was empty.
Okay.
So it was like, okay, who's gonna open it? And as soon as I knew that they were leaving, I just swooped in
Okay.
and
Just
got
kind
it.
of
Yeah,
fell into
it
place.
just kind of fell into place. Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
We have time for maybe one or two more questions if we have those. Anybody else have a question they wanted to ask? Yeah, right here.
How did you get your financial start in the business?
I was lucky. I didn't, there's not a lot of startup costs because it was already built out. I had to buy some props and that kind of thing. It really was not expensive. I had the money. So I just funded it myself.
One more question? Okay, well, join me in saying thank you to Rachel.
Thank you guys.